Well, hello Spurs fans. Welcome back to the channel with me, Kieran, talking all things Tottenham. Today we're going to be talking about that dreadful draw 2-2 against Newcastle away. It's just so disappointing. But before we get into that, I need to speak about something, unfortunately, that has occurred. I don't understand how these things are still happening after the amount of media attention that it's had over this pandemic. And that, of course, is racism. It makes me ridiculously angry, and I don't want to sit here and have to shout down a YouTube channel, because hopefully any of you people that are watching this are not people that would make these kind of comments or emojis about anyone of any race. But Davinson Sanchez, unfortunately, is the next person in a long line of people that has had to suffer from racism completely unnecessarily. Why can't people understand that, yes, he may have had a poor game. He may have let us down in a big moment. How does that relate to his skin? At all. So when that person puts those monkey emojis there, targeting them at Davinson Sanchez, do they not realise that we have other players in the team of the same skin colour? I mean, even on the pitch at the same time. Tanganga was on the pitch. And Ndombele was on the pitch. Sissoko's another player in the squad. What is wrong with people? It's just absolutely disgusting. It shouldn't happen. The club have obviously come out in full support of Davinson. And anyone that is not in support of Davinson, or any people that are suffering at the moment, I don't even know. I'm lost for words that this is still happening after all the media attention that it's had, all the protests. I mean, the players are taking the knee before the game against racism, and then 90 minutes later, there's people putting up racial abuse towards one of the players. It's just unacceptable. But, you know, we'll put a stop in that for now, because hopefully nobody that watches this channel is anybody that would put any kind of hate speech, racism, discrimination against anyone, whether it be our players or not. And if you are one of those people, turn the video off now. I don't want you watching my channel. The next issue we'll quickly address is, it's about something that people interpreted the wrong way. It's been a couple of weeks since now, but it's the Gareth Bale situation, with him talking about he came to Spurs to gain some fitness ready for the Euros, and his intention was always to go back to Real Madrid. Now, for any of you that found that insulting, clearly don't understand transfers and parent clubs very well. Oliver Skipp is our player. He's on loan at Norwich. He was asked pretty much the same question. Gave pretty much the same answer. Obviously not the fitness thing for the Euros, but he needed more game time, went on loan. He will be coming back to Tottenham. But when Gareth Bale says it, apparently it hurts us. Look, at the end of the day, he's contracted to Real Madrid. He is their player. He is on loan to us. He's not going to come out and say, I really want to stay at Tottenham. One, we may not want him. It's not been the best season for him. It took him a long time to get back fit. He had some really good performances, but then his form has dipped again. So Tottenham may not want him because of the amount he's going to cost. Also, if he makes it glaringly obvious that he wants to leave to a certain club, and that club wants him, Real Madrid will have every intention of creeping that price up a little bit. The less wanted he is, the lower the price goes. Again, it's just something where fans take it so offensively, and it's not offensive. He's not using our club. There are other clubs that he could have gone to, but he came to us instead. That in itself is the compliment. He chose Tottenham over other clubs that he could have gone to get fit ready for the Euros. If the opportunity arises to stay at Spurs, he may not want to take it now. I genuinely think he loves Spurs. Like, he had his best years of football, consistent years of football at Spurs. Of course he would want to stay. But if Jose Mourinho is still in charge next year, he's not giving him loads of game time. He finally got him fit. He was playing. He had a bad game against Arsenal, and then he's back on the bench again, coming on for 10 minutes at a time. He's not going to want to do that. He may even drop to a team like Everton, a Villa, somewhere like that. He may be willing to take a pay cut, but where he's going to play regularly. So don't get offended by these things. It's just generic football talk. Every single loan player that is interviewed says pretty much the same thing. The fans of your parent club would find it very disrespectful if you essentially say you don't want to go back to them. You have to pretend you want to go back to them, even if you don't. That's just the way football is. But anyway, with those things out the way, we'll get into the game now, start with the lineup, talk through a few of the key moments in the game, some stats, the interviews, opinions, and whatnot. So we go with the lineup. It was the exact same 11 that started against Aston Villa with that 2-0 victory. So Hugo in goal, Reguilon and Tanganga as the fullbacks, Sanchez and Rodon centre-backs, Højbjerg and Tanguy and Ndombele together in the deeper midfield positions, Lo Celso and Moura making up the wider areas, with Kane dropping slightly deeper into like a number 10 role, with Vinicius as the man a bit further forward. Obviously, fluid system where they can all interchange. Kane can come up as a top two. There were some people left out of the squad altogether. We'll talk about that a bit later. But substitutions that were made in the game. Vinny came off at half-time for Sonny. Lamela came on 64 minutes in for Moura. Bale came on the 88-minute mark for Lo Celso. So the game, like as I predicted in the last video, you know, these teams in the relegation scrap, they are going to come out, they are going to fight. They want to stay in the Premier League. There's a massive difference in money, exposure for them for internationals and whatnot. So we knew they were going to fight. And on the whole, Newcastle deserved to win the game, really. If you look at it as a full 90 minutes, they deserved to win. It was just a bit of madness after we conceded, where we really pushed for a few minutes, got ourselves back into the game. But apart from that, we didn't really deserve it. We had some good attacking moments. But if we just go through some key moments, there was the double save that Hugo made from Dwight Gale. I mean, Gale really should have put one of those in. The first save was good from Lloris. The second one, I think, was more of just it was kind of a reaction. He was a bit lucky to get hold of it. Could have tucked in under his arm on the near post, but managed to get it. Well done, Hugo. Dwight Gale would have been really disappointed he didn't do more with it. Their first goal for Joe Linton, it came for some really poor passing at the back. It wasn't even like we were really trying to clear our lines. We should have been able to play out from where we were on that right-hand side. And unfortunately, it was Tanganga, the one that ended up giving the ball away. And it just led him in. Rodon was left completely isolated. The ball was played across the box. Easy finish for Joe Linton. But it's just one of those stupid moments that we seem to have at the back where our concentration kind of goes and we forget how to play simple football. And if you're struggling in those moments, don't try and pick a pass. Clear your lines. Smash it upfield. Didn't happen. Really poor. We're a goal down. Pretty much, though, instant reply from the restart. It was almost like 30 seconds or something like that. We make a nice break, and a lot of the team goes forward. Harry Kane obviously scores. A ball through from Lo Celso. There was actually 4 of our guys in the box for this. So, you know, we've conceded the goal, and there's a really positive reaction. They've all broke forward. It was a bit of a lucky goal, to be honest, because there was a mix-up between the defender and the goalkeeper. The ball just comes nicely to Kane, and, you know, the rest is history when it's Harry Kane. So we're back in the game. And then, straight away again, we then bounce back with another goal. And you're thinking, oh, this is brilliant. What a reaction. You know, we can go on to smash this game. A good bit of play from Tanguy on Dembele. He plays the ball through to Kane, who's approaching the right-hand side of the 18-yard box. Now, when he's running through with this, I didn't think he was going to shoot, because it wasn't the best angle from where he was at. The keeper was in a fairly decent position, and the only reason he scores, I think, is because of the power on the shot. The keeper just can't get down quick enough to it. And when you actually look at it, you see Vinicius is making his run into the box with Harry Kane. And all I'm thinking is, all you've got is a defender and the goalkeeper. You've got this lovely space in between to play an easy ball across to Vinicius and we get a tap in. And as he's shooting, I'm thinking, what are you doing? But the ball ends up in the back of the net. It's 2-1. Things are looking absolutely great for us. But it just wasn't meant to be, really, was it? I mean, there was other chances in the game. Tanganga had an opportunity from a corner, but that was cleared off the line. They had other chances as well. I mean, Jolinton missed. I mean, it wasn't a sitter, but he should have scored. And we hit the post as well. Harry Kane really should have put the game to bed. It's one of them where you can't be too angry at him because he scored 2 goals and he played very well in the game. But in this situation, he should have scored. There are a lot of times where Harry Kane doesn't put the ball in the back of the net when you feel a player of his quality should. And it's really frustrating. You know, he's so good, and then it's almost in the crucial moments. Like, he got us back into the game, puts us further ahead, but at the moment in the game, it wasn't the most crucial. You know, we're late in the game at a time where there's so much pressure on it, and it doesn't happen. And you know, in those moments when we don't take them, that we're going to concede. Newcastle are fighting against relegation. You have to put these games to bed. But why do we have to score 3 or 4 goals in a game to get a victory? With the players of our quality, we should not need to be scoring 3-4 goals every game. We should be able to defend a 1-goal lead. But it's just not to be. There was other situations where, unfortunately, Lamela holds on to the ball for too long a lot of the time. He's been very good this season. He's played way more games than he has in pretty much any season he's been at Spurs because of his injuries. But he just holds on to the ball too long, doesn't slot people in when he should. Even with the Harry Kane chance, he slotted Harry Kane in a bit later than we would have liked him to. He nearly lost the ball in the build-up to that. But yeah, Harry Kane had the chance to put us further in front, put us into that top 4 place. It didn't happen. They go down the other end, and it's just woeful defending. It's absolutely woeful. Like, we should have cleared our lines from it. It didn't happen. And why, of all people, did it have to be an Arsenal man to score the goal that takes the points away from us? Why? It's like it was written. You saw him come on. We saw that Newcastle was piling on the pressure. It was just written, really, wasn't it? And I have to say, and loads of us don't like the term, Spursy. It was very Spursy. Like, we have no bottle in these situations. How many times have we got to sit here and say, oh, we have a chance to break into the top 4. Everything went our way. When I was making the last video, like, if you watched it, you would have heard me say that as I'm making this video, Chelsea are currently 1-0 up. Now, we all know what happened. They went on to lose. All the results pretty much went in our favour. Everything we needed to break into that top 4 went in our favour. And after I posted my video live, I obviously saw the Chelsea result, and I instantly said, we're not going to win now. And it sounds terrible to say that about your own team. But all you've got to do is look at the history over the last few seasons when we have these big chances to sit top of the league, push for the Champions League, overtake somebody else. We don't do it. We always want to take the most difficult route possible for success. And in these sort of games, you have to put it down to the hunger of the players. We know Newcastle are going to fight relegation battle. They do not want to go down. Our players want to play Champions League football. Why are they not pushing themselves to the absolute limit? I mean, if you look at something, Newcastle had 17 shots in our box. That's not 17 shots total, 17 in our box. How are we letting them in there for 17 shots? That's absolutely dreadful. There is no other way of looking at it. And then other things. We have failed to win 6 of our games when we've been leading at half-time. So it just goes to show that we capitulate. We either get complacent, we sit back too much. The fact is, if you're leading in a game, more often than not, it's because you've done something right and you deserve it. Your attacking players put you in a position to put you in front. And the way I look at it is you continue to put that pressure on. The team you're playing haven't scored. That's for a reason. Because they're busy defending. If you then take the lead and start to sit back, it invites pressure. You would expect with 17 shots inside a box that they are going to score. The fact that they only scored 2 with 17 shots inside our box is a miracle. You know, saves from Hugo Lloris, miscued shots, Joe Rodon blocking the ball. But it is amazing that we've come away with a point from this game. If all of our games had stopped at half-time, we would be second in the league. That tells you a lot about the mentality of the players in this team. 45-minute men. That's absolutely disgraceful. There is no getting away from it. There was a little bit more controversy. Jose was asked about the players not in the squad. There was no Alderweireld, no Aurier, no Bergwijn. And he was asked about it. And it was a bit of a strange answer. Obviously, they've been on international duty. And Jose gave the reasoning, because obviously they have to be tested. He said they weren't back in time and tested, ready to be involved in training on Thursday or Friday. Now, I can only assume Jose thinks people are stupid, or he just got confused. Because there are pictures of Toby Alderweireld in training. There are reports from very good sources that Alderweireld returned on the Wednesday. He was definitely in training on the Friday. I don't know about Aurier or Bergwijn. Bergwijn hasn't been making all the matchday squads at the moment anyway, so I'm not going to question that too much. But Alderweireld certainly would have been available. And even if not, in training for all those days, Alderweireld is old enough and experienced enough to not have to train for a game against Newcastle. He's played football internationally. He's fit. Jose did say they were fit. So a player of his quality does not need to be involved in all the tactical analysis and the way they train in a game to prepare for Newcastle. They have so much technology at their fingertips. The meetings that they have where they go over the tactical analysis before the game, the way they want to play, there is no reason why Alderweireld could not have been given that information to look at to be ready for the game. I mean, with the lineup, when it first came out, a lot of us would have been thinking, okay, this team beat Aston Villa, they played very well, they should be capable of beating Newcastle. My worry was playing the same defence again. I think their average age is 23. Sanchez, we know, isn't a leader. He's very good with somebody next to him, like he was with Jan Vertonghen in that season. Jan and him had a very good partnership. He copes well with a leader next to him. Asking him to lead a backline just adds more pressure onto a guy that is still developing. And he had been playing well in the lead up to those last 2 games. I mean, the Villa game wasn't actually his best game either, but I feel like he instructed his defence well. It just didn't go right from this game. I feel like we could have done with Aurier in there for a bit more experience, and we could have done with Alderweireld. And then another player that we have to talk about is Reguilon. What has happened to him? His defending, again, was shocking. He was really bad against Villa defensively. Very good attacking. And in this game, he wanted to get forward whenever he could. Like, there is no getting away from the fact that he is a proper wing-back. But his defending is just not good enough. And we saw it when he first came to Spurs. Was it the game against Chelsea where he made like rash challenges, didn't get the ball, allowed players in behind him? It just wasn't good enough from him. Tanganga, unfortunately, had a bit of an iffy day. It wasn't his best game. Sanchez, obviously, it wasn't his best game. Joe Rodon, however, I was very impressed with him. Now, obviously, he looked even better because the rest of the defence didn't play that well. But he made a lot of blocks, very good tackles. He was good in the air. He was comfortable on the ball. He only lost the ball / gave possession away, I think it was 5 or 6 times throughout the whole game. Sanchez gave away possession 21 times. And I've mentioned before that Sanchez's passing is a bit iffy, which is a bit shocking considering the academy that he came through and the time that he was at Ajax. But you can just see where the problems are. You can't be giving the ball away from defence. That invites so much pressure. It creates so much extra work for the midfield. And when you give the ball away, you're taking your whole front line out the game. And you're straight away on the back foot because you weren't expecting to give the ball away. So yeah, defensively wasn't great. Hugo Lloris had an okay game. He didn't really make any mistakes. It was just... we let them in, essentially. I don't think Lloris could have done anything about either of the goals. I mean, their second goal from Willock, it was just smashed at the crossbar and back down. I mean, it wasn't actually a great strike. It was quite lucky that the ball stayed in. But yeah, Lloris was okay. Defence were iffy. Rodon was good. Højbjerg, I mean, he had an okay game. Ndombele. Jose actually came out in an interview and said that he feels like Ndombele can do more. And he definitely can. You see it all the time. He sort of gets tackled. He'll be on the floor and he sort of gets up, bumbling about. There is no intensity in his personality. Like, he's admitted, I think he had the interview with Alistair Gold. They did a piece and Alistair was saying how he's very, very laid back, very nonchalant. And he admitted that himself, and Ndombele. Now, the thing is, when you're on the pitch, you get fouled. He has never really any like mass complaints. There never seems to be any hunger. He just kind of lays there like a spud on the floor, gets up slowly, ambles about. There's no question. The guy is unreal on the ball. He like pirouettes around people. His footwork is incredibly tidy. He plays some great passes going forward. He's a very intelligent footballer. I just want more intensity from him, more hunger. Jose said he can almost see why he isn't always a starter for France. He's an incredible talent, but he doesn't show the hunger, desire and passion that it takes to wear the international jersey. Like, you can't take away from his quality. And I think the frustration Jose has is that he knows there is no one like him. If Tanguy could put some passion and desire into his game and gave his all for the whole time he's on the pitch, there is no doubt he is one of the best midfielders in world football. He's so skillful. He's so intelligent. He can play good passes. He goes around people like they're not there. He can have 3 people on him and he will come out with the ball. He won't even look like he's going to lose the ball. You just know he's coming out with it. We just need a bit more from him, a bit more passion. So for him, he was okay going forward, but we just needed more. Lo Celso, obviously we know he's still coming back from injury. Although he should be fully fit by now, there's a difference between fully fit and match sharp to keep up with play. He put in an okay performance. Lucas Moura, I don't like him out on the left. Like, I've said this in a previous video. In fact, I think I've said it in a previous 2 interviews. 2 interviews? I wasn't interviewed by anyone. In 2 previous videos. I prefer Moura when he's central. He's so much better when he has multi-directions to go. Out wide, he kind of gets lost. Same thing happened again. Carlos Vinicius, I mean, it's one of them again where he was given game time, but I'm not going to criticise him too much for not having A great performance. You've got to remember, as I said, I don't think him and Harry Kane play together in training. I feel like they're on the opposite teams in training. And they also still haven't had the time to work together since the last game because Harry's been on international duty. So Vinicius has obviously had to work as a solo striker again or partnered next to Dane Scarlett or whoever's been brought into the squad. So I'm not going to blame him too much. And he was actually involved very early on in the game, straight away. So we saw his intent. And he could have had a goal had Harry Kane passed it instead of scoring that second goal. And yeah, then he was taken off at half-time, replaced by Sonny, back from injury. But then we saw what happened with Sonny. Wasn't great. Didn't offer loads, which you expect coming back from injury. But my question would be, why bring him on at half-time? Bring him on later in the game. You could have brought Lamela on at half-time. That would have been a bit better. And it would have offered us more, I think. I just don't think Sonny was ready to come straight into the game and give us a load of intensity. So that didn't work. Lamela, when he came on, I mean, he's always fairly bright. He gets about the pitch. He tries to make things happen. As I said, holds on to the ball too long. But he does change the dynamic for us. So he was okay. Gareth Bale, I mean, he was brought on very late. Not a lot to do. He did have the free kick. And it was absolutely dreadful. I expect better from him. For me, a bad free kick from Gareth Bale should still be a free kick that's on target. One where he maybe puts it straight at the goalkeeper. A player of his quality should not be putting it that high over the bar. And Harry Kane as well. I'm sick and tired of him taking free kicks. I know he's a very good striker of the ball. But what has he scored? Is it 2 free kicks for Spurs? And one of them was a deflection off the wall. Says it all, really. Free kicks, Harry Kane, unfortunately, you're an amazing player. They're not your thing. The amount of free kicks that you send straight into that wall is unacceptable. There needs to be somebody else taking these free kicks. I don't know what the answer is. We know Eric Dyer is a good free kick taker, but he's not on the pitch at the moment. There must be somebody else that can take a better free kick than Harry Kane in that squad. If so, please find them. Please use them. But Harry Kane, he was the man of the match. He had a very decent game, I feel. A lot of intensity. He showed passion. Should have killed the game for us, but I'm not going to be too critical for the fact that he did a lot of work for us. But on the whole, yes, we didn't deserve even the draw, I feel. We had chances, but they had a lot of chances as well. So when I sit here and say, we could have put the game to bed, so could they. It's the same on the other side. And you only had to watch Steve Bruce's interview to know that he felt that they should have come away with the points. And for them, obviously, it means a lot more because to drop down to the Championship, financially, it's a bit of a killer. I know they have the balloon payments and whatever, but it is a killer. Your TV money goes down. You can't attract as good of players. Your best players then want to leave. You can't afford the wages of some of the players that do stay. For us not getting into the Champions League, yes, that is a disaster in a financial sense, but we'll still be in the Europa League, probably. So we'll still get European money, we'll still get TV money, we will still get the crowds come in and probably fill out. So it's not as much of a dent. But yeah, if we talk about Jose's interview, I'm not going to read out word for word what he said, I'm just going to give you the gist. He was basically saying it's not a good point. That's no disrespect to Newcastle, but for the gap of where we are in the Premier League and the quality that we've got, we should have won the game. He didn't want to go into the analysis of what he thought went wrong, and that's a continuation that we see previously. I think the Arsenal game, the Zagreb game, he wouldn't go into it too much. He wanted to leave that for the dressing room. But what he would say is, there were lots of mistakes. There were also some very good moments. He said that every point for Newcastle at the moment is absolutely crucial and they would fight till the end. He said that when we came out after half-time, we wanted to kill off the game. The players wanted to win. But it was a bit of a weird one because he said it wasn't the lack of fight or attitude. It was the profile, vision and balance that you expect of top professional Premier League footballers, that he didn't see that in every position. So essentially, he's digging out players without saying any names. He's saying that some of them did not give the effort or play as a Premier League player should. And that's true. There were some terrible performances out there. But, I mean, you can't blame the whole squad because there were the people out there as well that tried really hard. As I said, like, Lloris didn't really do too much wrong. Rodon had a good game. Højbjerg and Ndombele were okay. But I think they're the sort of players he's talking about. You know, they're players that should be great. And for some reason, they're just off it. I think that's kind of what he's talking about. These players that should be a lot better. I mean, you expect Tanganga, Rodon, Reguilon, Sanchez to not be perfect because they're still very young. They don't get loads and loads of game time. I mean, Sanchez obviously gets a bit more. But the youngsters in there, you can kind of forgive them for making some mistakes. But then at the same time, Jose has to take some of the blame in the sense that he had more experienced players there that he could have played to add a bit more balance. I'm all for youngsters playing when they're paired with the right people. But when you have a whole back four of young players, yes, it worked against Villa. It was that first game together, they're hungry and wanted to prove a point. They pretty much all went off for international duty. Come back. It's all different. Gareth Bale actually said just before the international break for one of his Spurs interviews that sometimes it's good to have the international break, get away from the club for a bit of time, a different environment, reset, come back and things help. And yes, I think he's right. And those players that weren't necessarily performing may have been able to come back and give us something. Because quite a few of our players went away and did have decent results with their international squads, and that can sometimes carry over when you come back to your club. You're buzzing off those results. Tanganga, unfortunately, wasn't one of those. He actually had a pretty poor game in his last under-21 game for England. He didn't play well at all. He played at centre-back in that game, but he's come back with a negative mindset because England under-21s had a torrid time during the international break. And these things can affect the players. So sometimes it might be better to put those guys in there that haven't been performing but have had a good international break. Because they're coming back with a positive outlook. They've had a good week. So yeah, Jose has to take some of the blame for that. But that's pretty much it. We had the opportunity to go fourth. Although looking at the way results went in the end, we would have been fifth because West Ham won another game. You know, Jesse Lingard is setting the world alight at the moment. The guy can do no wrong. So even with that win, by the end of the day, we would have been 3 points off top four again. But we would have been level with Chelsea. And then you look at our next games. We've got Man United at home on Sunday. I don't really know what to expect from that. It's going to be a difficult game. And then we travel to play Everton away. That's going to be a difficult game because they're in and around us. They've actually got a game in hand. They're going to be vying for that top four spot as well. They're very, very capable of doing it. They've got a very good squad, very good manager. So that's going to be a tough game. Then I think we've got Southampton, which again you would say is a game that we should win, followed by the Carabao Cup final. And then we've got a run of not so difficult games. But then we finish the season away at Leicester. I don't want to be in a position where we go into that game needing to win to guarantee top four. We need to get it sewn up before. But as I've said, it's not about us necessarily. It's about the teams around us. And the teams around us, most of them dropped points. We didn't capitalise because we were being Spursy. We just can't do it under pressure. West Ham fully took advantage of what had happened with the other teams. They put the effort in. They won their game. They're rightfully sitting in the top four at the moment. And that's the attitude that we need to take. We need to fight like West Ham are. There is some sort of cohesion in their squad. I mean, they have a good manager. Definitely should have been given more time at Manchester United. But that's where we are. Unfortunately, we're just relying on Harry Kane to pull us through the rest of the season. I mean, he was man of the match in the game. And just an interesting statistic here. He has 84 goals in 120 away games in the Premier League. That's a hell of a lot of goals to score away. A lot of goals. The guy's incredible. So many goal contributions this season. But is his time coming to an end at Spurs? As I said, I don't think it'll be this summer. But there's not a lot going on really at Spurs that gives us any positives. Yes, we're in a better position than we were last season. Yes, we have more points. But the fact is, teams around us are progressing and we're not. We've stagnated. We've stayed level. So yes, we may not have dropped, but with other teams getting better, we also need to get better with them to still keep the gap there. And we're not. So stagnation for us is almost as bad as dropping. We need to sort it out. Jose, I think, will have a massive clear out in the summer of all the deadwood. We need a leader in defence. That's what we need. We don't really have a leader. Dyer could be a leader, but unfortunately his confidence is gone. So that's not going to happen. Sanchez isn't going to be the leader. Joe Rodon could be a leader, but I feel like he's too young and too inexperienced at the moment. We need somebody with that defence. I don't know what the answer is. Hopefully Jose can figure it out in the summer. But we move on to the next game. They're very crucial. If we lose either of these games, I think we can call it dead. No chance of top four. Because I can't see the other teams dropping as many points as we do. So that every game now, I think we have to win every game from now till the end of the season. We don't have a choice. We need to put the run together. We need to win these games. Can we do it? I don't know. But anyway, that's it for today. So thank you very much for joining me. I apologise for the rants at the beginning, but it had to be said. Racism is unacceptable. Discrimination is unacceptable. Social media platforms, you need to take responsibility. There are idiots out there that are going to do things no matter what. So make sure anonymity is not available. On all my accounts, my name is on there. My YouTube channel, I haven't called it anything else at the moment. It's my name. At some point, we will brand it. I have an idea of what I want it to be. But it will still have my name somewhere in the title. My name will be there. My Instagram is my name. My Facebook is my name. My Twitter is my name. Don't hide. No anonymity. Sort it out, social media platforms. It's your responsibility to vet these people on your sites. But yeah, racism not acceptable. We covered the game. Very disappointing. But thank you for sticking around and watching that video. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a negative video. There wasn't too many positives to take from the game. We go again. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you enjoyed the video, support it with a thumbs up. And you can turn on the bell notifications if you want, so you get notified when the next video goes live. But yeah, thank you very much. I hope, apart from the result, you've enjoyed your Easter weekend. Unfortunately, it's time to get back to work. But take care, and as always, come on you Spurs.